Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Saturday, May 26, 2018. My name is Rich, and joining me once again is Bijan. How are you making out?
Not good, Rich. Not good at all. I'm gonna be real. My legs are in so much pain. This past weekend, I did the Spartan Beast at Big Bear, and it was by far the most excruciating physical thing I've ever done in my entire life. Do not do that unless you are training all year round, guys. The pain is indescribable.
Did you know it was going to be one of the toughest ones you've done, or did it, surprise you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always hear the Big Bear in particular one is known as, one of the hardest OCRs in America. I was fully prepared for the strain on my legs because, guys, it starts at the base summit of, Big Bear, I maybe about halfway through. But then it goes straight up to the 9,000 feet peak of it. So you're talking about a mile straight up, no breaks. And I'm not talking about kind of curved. I mean, it is straight up where you're on all fours climbing up a damn mountain. It was insane. The pain was indescribable. But the thing that I just couldn't prepare for, Rich, was I have asthma. I've never really dealt with asthma attacks or anything throughout my entire life. I did track and field. I played soccer. I was team captain of my soccer team. Just all this different stuff. Never in my life has asthma been an issue. I could not breathe on that damn mountain. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be doing that one again. Maybe if there's another Spartan Beast somewhere else, I can do it. But the Big Bear one, I just can't do. It's not for me.
Wow. Sounds pretty intense. And your girlfriend did it with you too, didn't she?
Yeah. Dude, she's the nicest person ever, guys. If everybody doesn't know, girlfriend Sarah, shout out to you, Sarah. She is the sweetest lady ever, It's very quiet, chill, kind of does beast mode, She'll run up to the tractor tires where everybody else is struggling and just flip them. They're they're nothing, Towards the last 2 miles of this race, you could genuinely see the steam coming out of her ears, where she was just I just want this over with already. After 7 hours of just hiking, and it's just going straight up and then straight down, where it's so much pressure on your knees, and then straight back up, and it's there's no end to it. It's no flat land or anything like that. It's just straight up and down. She was just so over it, man. It was.
You used to say 7 hours.
Yeah. It was no joke. It was, in many ways, just hell for me. But, I was able to complete all the obstacles. There was only one obstacle I didn't do, and that's pretty much it. So, and the one obstacle was the rope climb, because screw that rope climb. I'm just done with it, But other than that, I did all of them, and I was pretty happy with my performance there.
That's awesome. Good for you, man.
Trifecta Runner, 2018, once again. Tough Mudder, doing that in November, guys. So, still doing it.
Yeah, and related to that, if you haven't seen it yet, check out the promo with Jesse Graff for Tough Mudder.
Dude, pretty dope. Yeah, guys, check that out. Jesse Graff's doing some gymnastics, cool, different things, tackling the Tough Mudder obstacles in I guess, new ways, so to speak.
Yeah, I'll link it in the show notes for anybody that didn't see it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was dope, man. Other than that, also, guys, if you were unaware, in 2 weeks, what's happening, Rich? You might see me somewhere.
In 2 weeks. Let me think. 2 weeks. It doesn't sound familiar. Isn't that about when ANW is back on the air, though?
It is, man. And it seems like June 6th, if I'm correct, is going to be when they're having the Los Angeles qualifiers, in which you might see, of all people, yours truly, me, running the course, kicking butt, maybe getting a Akbarism name, so to speak.
That's cool, because I just clued in. You don't know what they said about you, do they?
No idea.
Do you? If they,
I'm really interested. Man, I'm kind of scared. Akbar was on a whole nother level this night, man. Just once again, guys, if you don't know, we're covering the All Star Special, and boy, Akbar had some gems in there, Dirty Bird and some other things. I'm like, oh boy, I don't know what he's got for me on that one.
Yeah, so we're going to be covering the All-Stars and Skills Challenge, which was great. And there is no Ninja versus Ninja this week. I guess before we get into the episode, that was a bit of a surprise, right? Like
Out of the blue,
we were all prepared to do Ninja versus Ninja again, and yeah, it got delayed.
Yeah, was this known or something? Because it really took me by surprise. I don't know if I was sleeping on it or not. Like, was this known that there was going to be a break?
I think it was pretty last minute decision and a last minute bump in the schedule, which kind of screws us up because it looks like now the final episode of Ninja versus Ninja is going to be on the same night as the first episode of ANW switching over to Monday nights, because it's going to be starting on Wednesdays. So we'll have both on June 19th, I think it is.
That's strange, man. Like, do you really want to be in competition with your own show? Like, there's got to be something that evens out there. They've got to rearrange it somehow.
Yeah, they put the whole schedule, like, it's up on ANW Nation, right?
Huh.
Shout out to Nikki, who keeps us informed. It's up there with the full schedule and what dates it'll be. And she even calls it out in the post that you're going to have a long night that night. Tell your family and friends you're not available.
Are they overlapping in time too? Or will it be at least like leading into one another?
I don't know that part, actually. I guess it depends on what time zone you're in, probably. And
I mean, that's just really strange, man. You know, do you really want to be in competition with your own show? That's really strange. You know, I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it, but we might want to keep an eye on that. You know, leading into the finale, because that's really going to be. I don't know. I feel like something's going to have to change there.
Yep. So if it does change again, we'll let you know if there's any other shifts in the schedule. But in the meantime, that's something to watch for.
Yeah, to say the least, man. It's like, what do you watch? The finale of Ninja vs. Ninja or American Ninja Warrior proper? Huh. It's like, yeah, something's going to have to change. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to switch something up.
Everybody DVR stuff now. Anyway. Just DVR it and watch at your leisure. But yeah, so let's get to the episode here, because this was fun. This was actually even better than I thought it would be.
Super fun, man. And, you know, it's always weird because every single year when it comes to the All-Star one, I always feel like I'm always psyched about the skills challenges far more than the later segment. I forget what it's called, but, you know, like the teams or whatever. And I don't know, both parts were equally great this year. I got to say, they both stand, like, well on their own.
I feel like they fixed the pacing. Like, was it 3 years? Was it 3 hours long last year? Because it was 2 this year. Something about it seemed more condensed and a lot more easy to consume. Yeah,
not sure, man, but that's a very good observation, that it, you know, the flow of the entire episode, very quick, you know, just snapping next, and it was always on a very good pace. There, in my opinion, only one part necessarily slowed down. It was right at the beginning, so it really didn't factor in too much.
All right, so the first challenge we got to see was the Super Salmon Ladder. I'm going to assume that wasn't the one you were referring to.
No. Super Salmon Ladder is dope, man. It's always one of my favorites each season.
I can't even wrap my head around what happened here. So this was the best year yet for the Salmon Ladder, I think. Mm-hmm. Everybody was killing it. Everyone was doing amazing. It wasn't a matter of like, can they beat it? It was how fast can they do it?
Yeah, the one thing I enjoy about this one, I don't know if it's just the Salmon Ladder in particular or not, but they take it so seriously. Like, when you see Mark Bernardo going into it and Carson Williams, you can see they aren't playing around. Like, they're smiling, and there's some funness to it, you know, and we'll go into the funness later into some of the other ones. But I very much appreciate the fact that they are all business, and they really, really want it. And I don't know, it just higher the stakes for me so much more. Big shout out to Carson Williams. I mean, when you saw that first run, just setting the bar, man, like that, what Carson Williams did was absolutely insane.
Yeah, he cut his time from last year in half, they said. That's pretty good, you know.
Yeah, to say the least, man. I don't know. It was just nonstop, you know? Like, I've done the Salmon Ladder. I'm sure a lot of the listeners have. That thing is so insanely hard to do. You go up just 5 rungs and you are completely gassed. This dude did 35 of them without stopping, really. Like, how is that even possible?
I don't know, but I felt so bad for Mike Bernardo getting so close to the top and not quite making it again. I thought, no, I was hoping for a victory for him again. I love that it was his thing a couple of years ago, and I wanted him to get the title back as much as I like Karsten too.
Yeah, it just plays so much into the story of Mark Bernardo that genuinely I felt bad because I really was rooting for Mike. But things happen. The guy's packing on a lot of muscle there, like a bullet right out. Just flying up that thing. But it's become a theme very much in this entire episode that when you go out too fast and you don't pace yourself, you kind of gas yourself halfway through. It's kind of the same mentality of like running a marathon. It's like, don't let your adrenaline get to you and just sprint out at the beginning. Always maintain a good pace.
Unless you're Sean Bryan, then you can just do whatever you want, apparently.
Well, yeah, that's another story. We'll get to that part. But yeah, it was just one of those things where Mike just couldn't. I don't know if he couldn't keep up with these young guns now, but it's just something to maybe keep an eye out for. Long story short, though, I think you won't see an issue with him on the main show or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then when they showed the other two guys, I was like, Josh Levin, okay, yeah, you know what? Maybe Josh can do this, right? He's lighter. He's got the climbing background. I thought, you know what? He has a good shot to beat the record. He's got
that strength, man.
Yeah. And then he put up this time of 27 seconds. I'm like, wow, that is something Sean Bryan is not going to beat. There is just no way. As good as he is, I gave him 1% chance. Like, it just wasn't going to happen.
I went into this with both Josh Levin and Sean Bryan kind of as unknowns because I've seen them both tackle the salmon ladder, but not necessarily in just all-out speed in this type of length. I would have instantly given the edge to Josh Levin just because he's very youthful. Like, dude's still a kid. I forget his age, but he's still young as all heck and got the grip strength. But Sean Bryan, I mean, at what point do we need to stop? Can we just stop, like, second-guessing this guy? Like, every point of the way, it's like he's still, like, amazing me. And it's like, I feel bad. It's like, oh, he might do good, and then he just kills it. And I'm just like, shame on you, Bijan. You should have known better. Like, the guy is just amazing. Good on you, Sean Bryan. Why don't you say what goes down,
Well, that's the thing. So Sean starts on the course, and he starts doing two at a time. And I still wasn't really... I was just thinking, okay, that's an interesting strategy to kind of make up for the fact that he's a little bigger. And I thought, okay, that's going to wear him out a lot faster, though. It didn't really seem to be the case because he just blew up the whole thing in 19.39 seconds. Like, absolutely destroyed everyone else's times. There was no competition. Sean Bryan won it all. Like, it was just ridiculous.
Absolute destruction. It was to the point where it's like, how do you even choose people for next year's, competition? Right. Like, who's going to compete with this guy? It was very much not even close. The fact that he skipped rungs for not just once, but like for a big portion of this, skill, whatever you want to call it, the 35 rungs, and then kept going. It wasn't like he just completely gassed and didn't have anything left. He kept going. He reaches the top, and then he even goes down 5 rungs just to, hammer in that nail. He's like, I've got this, guys. Absolute, amazing, phenomenal athlete. I mean, if you don't have your eyes on this guy going into the season, I don't know what to tell you. This guy's on a whole nother level right now.
He's the PayPal ninja. He is money.
Shame on you. Shame. Just please don't make that a thing. Please.
It is the best Akbarism ever. I swear to God, I love that one. But so after that, we had the striding steps. Is this the one that you were saying you weren't that keen on?
I mean, it's really not bad. I mean, it says a whole lot that for me, this was the weak point of the episode because I don't necessarily think it's bad. I just feel like it didn't match up to the rest of the competitions and the skill challenges. And they played a long time like on this, so I feel like it could have been shortened. But really, it's not really much of complaining. It's more of like this was, for me, the clear down point in the episode. I'm glad I was at the beginning, though. Rich, how did you feel on the whole thing?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I was glad to see that it was going to be actually aired on NBC this year instead of just being online like it was last year. Some of our favorite ninjas are competing. Like, how do we not want to watch this, right? Thomas Stillings and Jake Murray, two of our favorite guests of all time. And Daniel Gill and Grant McCartney, two people who I'd love to have guests at some point, right? Just all great personalities, all great ninjas. I like the idea of this better than the execution, though. I don't like that they go straight out and straight back. I think if it was like a loop, like it was in a big circle and they ran and had to try to keep their balance while they were running and turning at the same time, and then maybe have the rope kind of midway through that, so they had to swing across to the next one and keep moving. I think the pacing would be better, so they're not going up and then swinging back the way they just came. I don't know. There's something about that whole pendulum and then just running back where they just were doesn't seem right to me.
Well, the issue is that it's just very almost repetitive in terms of the design of the course. It's just steps, and then kind of rope climb, you know? I feel like there's a lot of potential here that isn't being, you know, harnessed necessarily to this. You know, it's not something where I want it to go away, you know? I'm not saying that. But I just feel like there's definitely modifications that could be done. Necessarily, if it's like side steps, you know, maybe some bungees. You know, the whole point of this particular challenge is balance. And I feel like there's balance and speed very much, right? And if you want, you can make the argument that maybe you can bring in parkour also to it. Different elements that you can very much like add to this to really make it fun. If you want to make it more parkour based, where you're doing transitions, or you can do it more balance based, where you got more balance obstacles. Just something to change up the dynamic and flow of it. You know, I don't know. At this point with the steps, there's some balance, but it's really just watching a bunch of people run forward, go on a swing, and run back. And that just isn't to the same level as watching somebody go up the salmon ladder 35 rungs.
I think that's fair. I guess it felt more like a normal obstacle and not the mega obstacles we were seeing for everything else, as basically what you were saying.
Oh,
right?
that's that's a good way to word it. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
And it need to be a little more epic. Like, if you're going to put it in here, we want to see them really tested. And this just felt like a foot race.
Yeah. Push it, man. Just, you know, push it all. Like, push out the dynamics. If you want to make it balance, make it balance. If you want to make it speed. Whatever you want to do, just push it full on.
To your point, it's really, there's not a lot to say about it. You know, the favorites going in were probably Thomas Stillings and Daniel Gill. And they got knocked out in the first round. It ended up being Jake Murray versus Grant McCartney.
Yeah, and Grant McCartney clearly was the faster person, I feel like.
Yeah, he was a couple seconds faster.
But he lost in the final challenge just based on the whole balance aspect. Which, I don't know. It very much, for me, came down to a game of chance, you know? And obviously there is skill involved where you have to maintain speed and balance. But for me, just visually, dynamically, wasn't there. I don't know. I really don't have much to say about it.
Yeah, there really isn't a whole lot to say. Jake ended up winning it. Congratulations, Jake. Did a great job. You have to be completely consistent on this, right? There is no margin of error. You mess up, you're done. So, I mean, it's something to be said for it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Grant, you know, went on too fast, swung over, and you know what? Never mind. I've said enough about this. Moving on, dude. So I'm done with that part.
Yeah, it's just not something you can say much about. And then they fast forwarded the Thunderbolt, which was back, the pegboard challenge, basically. Jamie Ron ended up beating out Adam Rail, JJ Woods, and Brent Stephenson to take the title this year.
That's pretty impressive, man. That's a big field. Going into that, who would you have had? Adam Rail or Jamie Ron or any of the others? Like, who would you first guess for that?
I would have picked Jamie Ron, I think.
Oh, then we're both on the same side, because it was interesting. I very much would have picked Jamie Ron as well. That's cool. Okay, because I don't know. Well, why don't you speak first before I go?
I mean, I'm a little biased towards Jamie. I've liked him from the beginning. Reason why I asked him as one of my first guests for the podcast is because I think he's phenomenal, and I think we've yet to see his full potential, right? So I'm hoping he does really well this year.
Yeah, for me, I've just seen an evolution with him, especially in the last 2 to 3 years. Jamie Ron has stepped up his upper body game so phenomenally, where he's very dynamic with the movements and also the grip strength with him. I think him being a gym owner has just paid incredible dividends for him in terms of skill and everything else. When it comes to Adam Rail, I notice more of, a lower body base speed. When you get the chance to sprint, that's where Adam Rail really shines. Very much, he can do very well on Ninja versus Ninja or anything with a lot of transitions. But something where it's, just upper body base, he's going to be fast, don't get me wrong. But I don't necessarily know if he's going to be at the same level as Jamie Ron. So just, speaking that narrative, because I know Adam Rail is known for everybody as like the speed demon. It's very much selective of what they're up against. Yeah, that was interesting, man, because I very much going into it, I was like, I kind of feel like Jamie Ron's got this. But yeah, it's cool.
And then it came to the Wicked Wingnuts, which is
highlight.
Just
oh yeah, oh my god,
amazing. Just how do you even sum this up?
Well, for one, man, like, how about the fact that we got something that's even better, in my opinion, than the flying shelf grab from like seasons before, man?
Yes, I was so worried. I was like, no, they get rid of the flying shelf grab, but I was intrigued because I loved the Wingnuts, so I thought that might work, but then I thought the distance wouldn't be as far. I'm like, they're not going to get as far on the Wingnuts, man. Was I wrong?
Just visually, dynamically, everything about it, amazing. I'll say this, not even going into what happened, I gotta say, all of those guys must have been feeling it the next day, because the force that you put upon your elbows and your shoulders and your fingertips have to be so insane. Not to mention the whiplash of your back. It seemed like they were all fine, but man, I don't know. I got really nervous there towards like the later parts of this whole challenge. I'm just glad they are the experts. I'm sure they knew what they're doing. Still, though, a little scary.
So looking at the four people we had here, Kevin Bull, Tyler Yamauchi, Najee Richardson, and Drew Drexel, who did you think was going to get second to Drew?
Oh, Najee. Come on, man. But
did you have any doubt it was going to be Drew that was going to take it home?
No, not really. I mean, I very much thought it would be Najee and Drew going to the end and them battling it out and Drew winning. Just because the comfort, Najee's very good. Obviously, we all know his gymnastics background and everything. But Drew has really come out for a very long, I can't even say a past few years, really for a very long time, as the master in terms of, really controlling his body when it comes to the in-air transitions. This guy's a masterclass when it comes to that kind of stuff. More than anybody else I can really think of. Which made it so shocking, really, for me, that he fell on the Wingnuts, during, American Ninja Warrior Season 9 proper, And we all know this background of that. He kind of injured himself. He overshot it. Many things happened. But I really didn't have much doubt that he was going to win this. I was very pleasantly surprised that, they included Tyler Yamauchi and Kevin Bull. I was like, those are very interesting choices. Out of the entire field, those guys are the guys picked, no complaints, but it was just like, I'm very curious how they choose who they choose,
Yeah, some of the choices were a little odd, and I'm wondering where Joe Moravsky must have had some other commitments that he wasn't in any of these things.
Oh, that's a good point, man. Because really, this filmed, I don't know, I know they filmed 3 things back to back after the season, but, there's the All Stars, there's the USA versus the World, there might be something else that I'm forgetting, but they're all pretty condensed in the same time period. Maybe he was, battling an injury from USA versus the World. Who knows, man?
The only other thing I can think of is that I think last year the only thing he did was the Mega Wall, and we didn't have that this year. So I don't know if they had it and we didn't get to see it, if something went wrong, or if they just are putting it online and I didn't notice that yet. But yeah, maybe that's where he is. Maybe he's on that one that got pulled.
Maybe. So actually into this, because this was the highlight of the episode, I gotta say, the visual aspect of seeing them fling themselves side to side and then just flying through the air so far, it never, ever got old to me, man. And just them raising the stakes ever so slightly, every time, 2 feet, 1 feet, just everything. It was incredible, in my opinion. I was so glued to the TV screen.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were doing at first. So they started at 13 feet, and I thought, geez, that seems awfully far. And then they all do it. They move it to 16 feet, and they all freaking do that too. I'm like, okay, they're gonna have to make like a major jump here to start knocking people out. So I move it to 18 feet, and I thought, like, is anyone gonna be able to do this? That knocked out Kevin and Tyler, who did fantastic to maintain it at that point.
Special shout out to Tyler. I don't know if it's the size dynamic or something, but seeing that guy fly through the air, just awesome.
It is, yeah. I love watching him do the propeller bar. I thought that was amazing. But yeah, Najee was really, really good, and I watched this with my daughter. I should point out, they don't watch it a lot, but my oldest decided to watch this with me, and she's a little behind. She doesn't watch every season, but she really enjoyed this, but she was saying the same thing. She's like Najee's really good, but he doesn't look as comfortable as Drew. It looks like they shifted out another 5 feet, like he'd still be doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the key. Najee was pushing himself to the limit and had great form and great style, and I love watching him go. But Drew was just like at home in the air or something. I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it, because I very much feel, and Drew even said it, I very much feel like Drew could have hit 22 feet and maybe even more. He wasn't pushing himself to this full extent. When he hit his, 18-foot stride, he was still above it. He almost hit his face on the propeller or the wing nut, whereas Najee was fully extended, barely catching himself. And that's the dynamic. Najee, as you said, going to his full extents and limits. That said, props to Najee for getting that far. Very few, if maybe it's these two guys, could have gone that far. I kind of want to see Jamie Ron on this obstacle. I feel like he might do well. Maybe Daniel Gill. What are some names necessarily that you kind of want to see next year for this? Because in my opinion, this wing nut and the salmon ladder, those two are the top ones in terms of the skill challenge for me. So kind of like, what is your all-star cast of like competitors for this?
I think you mentioned Daniel Gill, perfect choice to try it. Flip Rodriguez would be interesting and a good choice. Really, to be fair, Sean Bryan beat it in the regular season, a very hard obstacle. We should, not keep overlooking him for these things. It would have been cool to see how far he could push himself.
It's weird, man, because I don't know how well he'd do. And it's like, who am I to even doubt him at this point? Because he does phenomenal on everything. But it's like, I don't know. Is Sean Bryan that good at, in air transitions? He cleared, the regular one, but you know what? I want to see Sean Bryan just so I could see what he, like, if he's bad at anything. Like, what is his Achilles heel at this point? Is Beast McGrath good at flying? Like, who are we sleeping on, man? There's somebody out there. Listeners, if you got anybody, let us know, because I feel like there's got to be people who are sleeping.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to throw out some names of people like, we're going to find out that Hunter Gerard could do this in his sleep, or somebody that we're not really giving enough due, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you've got a name, throw it our way. Be interested to see who you think's really got the wing nuts down. Kevin Carbone, let's get him out there.
Are you just naming names?
No, he's the inventor. He's the maker. He's the dude that make him try to do 20 feet on this thing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, great challenge, really fun to watch, and I hope it comes back every year.
Dude, it's got to, man.
I would have said that about the wall,
so
too.
Good.
The only thing I can think of with the wall is they just looked at the giant there, John Alexis Jr., and just went like, is there any point in bringing anybody else out to do this wall?
Yeah, that's a good point, because the wall is very fun, but maybe you're onto something where if somebody's just destroying it so badly, what's the competition there? Do you think that means we're not going to see the salmon ladder? Because, dude, Sean Bryan kind of destroyed that.
I think you'll be seeing some Josh Levin double jumps there next season. I think he showed
maybe
how to cut a lot of time off, and you'll see some people really pushing it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like the salmon ladder in particular is going to be far more of the youthful type of obstacle going forward.
So then we went to the mega spider climb. That was interesting. 80 feet high, all the women competing, all the top women, I should say, 8 of them.
Yeah, I like this, man. Like all women competition. It was a tournament. You got to see all the top female ninjas. I was pleasantly surprised. I really didn't know what to expect going into this because I'm like, yeah, it's cool seeing two competitors going up that, but I don't know. For me, it was far more better than I would have ever imagined.
Yeah, it turned out well said. It turned out way better than I thought. Because when I first saw it, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool, but the spider climb's not exactly exciting to watch most of the time. But you put them in a race and then you make them do it over and over again until they're absolutely exhausted. It becomes very, very compelling.
Yeah, it's similar to Ninja versus Ninja towards the end, where it's very much about not only speed, but how much stamina somebody has. Like, how many times can you do this without completely blowing up? And we saw it wasn't necessarily the first run that really made the compelling matchups. It was really the second and the third matchups that were really giving people trouble. And you really got to see how much grit and will they had going into it. And I don't know, I loved it.
I mean, after the first round, we got to see the semifinals. It was Megan Martin versus Jessie Lebrec and Barclay Stockett versus Jesse Graff. And I was just beside myself. Like,
dope.
So cool. So cool to see her go. Megan absolutely looked unbeatable in this. She would look so comfortable through the whole thing. And we were both kind of laughing here watching it. Like, as great as everybody else is, Megan doesn't even look tired. Like, this does not look like it's going to be much of a competition.
Yeah, it was interesting. For me, I really enjoyed Megan. Kind of was destroying everybody going into that final, right?
Yeah.
I feel like very quickly you could see that Flex Lebrec, this just wasn't her, her particular obstacle. Anything with the spiders or you're holding yourself up in that position, it's very strenuous on your hip flexors, a muscle that, just not, it's something that not a lot of people work out. How often are you necessarily working out your inner thighs, right where your crotch is at? It's just not a muscle people are working out, It's like squeeze this ball between your legs or something, It's
right.
It's very hard to train for. But more so, going into the second one, you're completely shot. That muscle's done, and then you hold your body weight up on that again. That's got to be a lot of pain that just not a lot of people are used to and trained for. So, Flex Lebrec gave it her all, but I could feel her pain, man. You could just see it on her face. And it was very clear, Megan Martin, she's trained on this before. The muscle was there. Big shout out to Barclay Stockett, though, because she really gave Jessie Graff a run for her money, and it was very back and forth. That was a really cool dynamic, and in my opinion, the best run of this entire competition, tournament, where, they were really back and forth, and it could have gone anybody's way. Barclay Stockett, huge shout out. She did great. But, dude, of course it's going down to Megan Martin versus Jessie Graff, right? Like,
yeah.
How amazing is that? You go through this whole tournament, and the producers and everybody, this is what they're aiming for. They're just praying it would be this. And sure enough, we got this. Megan Martin versus Jessie Graff in the finals tournament, going up this amazing scaffolding of 80 feet. Just what more can you ask for?
Well, it's funny because as they're lining up to go, and we both thought that Megan had it, I said, the one thing you have to consider, though, is that Jessie almost likes being exhausted. Like, she loves that feeling of just utter exhaustion and pushing through it more than anybody I've ever seen. She smiles ear to ear when she's in those moments because she knows she's getting her biggest gains. Like, she's just such a beast. And
she embraces the pain.
She does, 100%. And we get to see it on full display here. Just look, if you watch back, look at her face and tell me she's not having the time of her life doing that.
Yeah, she loves the pain, And Megan Martin, she's definitely cleared this hole in her game up. About 2 years ago, we saw, especially in Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge, that she does have a stamina issue where she can get tired. Now, I haven't really seen that ever since then. I feel like she's definitely cleared that hole up. But going into this, I definitely thought maybe that would play a part. It really didn't, to be honest with you. It's just Jessie Graff never stops, ever. But
Right.
yeah, it was very interesting because those two athletes, they gave it their all. And that's all you can ask for. It was amazing. good on Jesse Graff, man. Like, you can see at the very end, they were completely spent. They couldn't even, like, embrace each other or anything. They're just laying down, just trying to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I like this. I hope it comes back too. I think it was a really great, interesting race. A nice switch up.
Yeah, it was fun, and I'm glad to see something where all the women, the top women, can have their own competition. Whatever you want to say about it, women can compete with the men on different things, but I'm glad to see one where it's all women.
So after that, we moved over to the team challenges. We had Team Matt versus Team Akbar and Team Christine. What did you think of the teams right off the bat? So Team Matt being Jamie Ron, Lance Pekus, and Jesse Lebrecq. Team Akbar, Alyssa Beard, John Alexis Jr., and Tyler Yamauchi. And Team Christine was Jesse Graff, Flip Rodriguez, and JJ Woods.
I mean, I really like Team Christine's team, for obvious reasons. There's a lot of cohesion there, all three athletes there really know each other well, work well with each other, and can honestly trust each other on pretty much all the obstacles. There's not many holes in their game. They've been, all three of them have been doing this for a long time. With the other two teams, they're filled with great athletes, but they're very, in my opinion, random. I mean, maybe these athletes know each other way better than I think, but I'm just like, why is John Alexis Jr. with Tyler Yamauchi and, was it Flex Lebrecq? Or was it Alyssa Beard?
Alyssa Beard.
It was Alyssa Beard. I'm just like, do they even know each other? Like, this is very random. And I feel like, I think Akbar said, he chose this team because they're all newbies, which is really cool. I like that dynamic. And also, like, the tallest guy with one of the shorter guys and Alyssa Beard. It's cool and all, but I don't know. It was just a weird team. Matt's team I really like, though. I feel like Matt's team's got something going there because Jamie Ron is low-key one of the strongest competitors in the entire sport. And I say low-key just because he really doesn't get the spotlight that he deserves in comparison to, Flip Rodriguez, Drew Dreschel, all the people like that, he really deserves to be up there. And maybe I'm sleeping on him, but I feel like online, I'm just not seeing him get the spotlight he deserves because he's really, really up there. Lance Pekus is kind of a question mark for me. He really surprises me every once in a while. So he's up there. He's a really good, strong competitor. And with all three women, I mean, they're all at the very top. I feel like they chose the three top women in the sport. No complaints there. In terms of the runs themselves, it very much was entertaining. I gotta say, this was far more fun than I've seen in years past, and I think you made up a great point of the format and the pacing was just spot on, man.
Yeah. Stage one was a relay, and I don't think it was it relay last year? I don't know if that's new or not.
I don't know. I feel like they had competitors do the entire race. Like they chose one person to do the entire stage, but I could be wrong, man. I just don't remember. But I gotta say, this relay format, awesome. I enjoyed it. It was very similar to Ninja versus Ninja, but just on American Ninja Warrior stages. And I felt like speed was much more of a factor, them getting through it, like taking risks. Everything about it, I really enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah, and I know stage 3 was a relay last year. That's the only one I'm positive on. The other ones I'm not so sure. But yeah, everybody did great. It's so cool to see them be able to kind of put it all on the line and focus on a few individual obstacles, right? You can see what they can do when they can just go for broke and go as fast as they can and not have to worry about the rest of them. So the combined team Matt can destroy Drew's time because there's 3 of them doing it, that kind of a thing. Just a great run. I thought Matt's team was going to be unbeatable. They did so well, right? It was just like a perfect run front to back. Mm-hmm. Team Akbar did great, but they were still, 12 seconds behind. And then Team Christine comes through and beats them by less than a second. Like, just floored me how well they did. And kind of annoyed me too because my daughter had picked Team Christine to win it and I picked Team Matt. So her team beating me in the first round didn't look so good.
Yeah, but it could have been anybody's, win.
Yeah.
As you said, it was a second difference. I really thought Flip Rodriguez looked very strong, just going for broke, skipping a step, just flying through, very starting out strong for his team, JJ Woods, he invented that jump on the what is that called? Snake Run, I think it's called, right? Like that gap jump that he did on Snake Run, he did it once again, very fluid, dynamic, and that very much leads into their parkour skills. They both come from a parkour background, and they very much implemented it there. Jessie Graff, she finished strong. She was slower than Jamie Ron on the swing, which I feel like plays a lot of part in the fact that she's just not as heavy as Jamie Ron, so she can't get like as dynamic of a swing where he did I think 2 swings where she did 3, but still that didn't make too much of a difference where she was able to complete it, and in many ways make up for her fall that she did that season. This was filmed just probably days after her run, on stage 1 last season, and she was able to make that up. So I'm really glad for her. I'm sure that was a personal win for her.
Yeah, and I'm sure that played into how many swings she took too, right? She did not want to fall short again, so I'm sure she wanted to make sure she got to the right distance this time.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to stage 2, that meant since Christine's team had the fastest time, they didn't have to compete. We just had Matt's team versus Akbar's, and Alyssa fell on the swing surfer. Like, she did such a good job on the wave runner that you almost overlook the swing surfer, right? Because that's the one to be most nervous about, or it seemed to be anyway. I really thought she had it at that point. I was totally overlooking that obstacle.
I was too, man. Particularly because Alyssa Beard, she is one of the taller female athletes. She's got long legs and everything. I just thought she had it. It was probably just me sleeping on that gap because it is a huge gap. Once again, brings me to the fact that I just hate obstacles where you have a jumping gap there. I mean, like, poor Tyler Yamauchi. Could you imagine him, getting through all of stage 2 and having to deal with that? And I'm sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was able to complete that last year, because he got to the wing nuts. But still, it's just such a crappy, I don't know. I hate that. But, yeah, where was I even going with this rant? Alyssa Beard, she shocked me, but I can't fault her for it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it took out Ian Dory at that same spot. I mean, he's one of the best there is, so, I mean, it can happen to anyone for sure.
Hate that obstacle.
That meant that Team Matt just had to get past that point in order to progress, and Jamie was able to do it. And I have to give some respect to Lance Pekas, who I did not see being able to beat the Wingnuts, but he did.
Yeah, this really woke me up on the fact that maybe we're going to see a lot more people complete this wingnut challenge now that, we have a lot of athletes not only training for it this entire year, but you see even visually, Lance Pekas gets one more try at it now that he knows what it's all about, and he's able to complete it. These athletes, they can transition and they can learn very quickly how to do an obstacle, just doing a second try. And this is living proof in it. I'm very happy for Lance Pekas. And I'm a lot more optimistic going into stage 2 this year than I was initially at the end of last year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they do. I hope we have obstacles as cool as the Wingnuts, added again this year. I think that's the best addition to the show in a very long time.
Yeah, I feel like we will. They always seem to step up their game, man. Plus, season 10, come on. They gotta have something up their sleeves.
So we get to see now stage 3, and Team Matt goes first, and they managed to beat it. Jessie LeBrack set some raise the bar for women everywhere by beating the time bomb and beating the flying bar.
All right, I gotta say, this for me was a highlight of the entire episode. For me, this was the run of the night and everything else. Flex LeBrack has my utmost respect. Going into that obstacle, what is it called again? It's like the bomb or something like that. Time bomb.
Time bomb.
Time bomb. Yeah, that is a very, very tough obstacle, and particularly if you have a shorter wingspan. And she was fully extended, and she gutted through it. And I don't know, just all the respect in the world. Everybody before you, like Jamie Ron was phenomenal doing both the cliffhanger and that weird peg type obstacle. He was very fluid and smart in his approach to doing it. But Flexobrek in particular, absolutely amazing. Gutted it out. Seeing her do the final portion of stage 3, just, I don't know. For me, that was absolutely the highlight.
So congratulations to the team. I feel like the middle leg is at the real short end of the stick on this one, because they had to do the ultimate cliffhanger, the body prop, and that weird peg challenge. I feel like that was the toughest part of stage 3, and Jamie Ron did a really good job, like you said.
Yeah, it's super tough, man. And I don't know, body prop's just one of those things. That thing has got to be so much harder than it looks. Like, it looks hard, but the margin for error is so slim. Like, you dip your hips just a little bit and you are falling.
No room to relax there. No room to catch your breath. You gotta just go. So then we get to see Team Christine taking it on, and I wasn't sure. I had my doubts, and I'd admit it was JJ was the one I was kind of questioning a bit here. But he struggled on the time bomb.
He brought that drama, I'll tell you that.
He did, and it's funny because before he took it, like I said, I watched it with my daughter, which is interesting because I'm explaining things to her and making predictions and things as we're going. And I said that JJ, if anyone was going to be their weak point here, it was going to be JJ, and it's not because he's not strong. I was worried about how patient he would be with those time bombs. I felt like he might get a little frustrated, and he did. I totally seemed like he was getting frustrated with them and not taking the time and placing them as cleanly as he needed to, but he did end up doing it eventually.
Yeah. JJ, for me, it's just a question mark for him, because the experience-wise, we've never seen him on stage 3, and particularly taking on an obstacle like that. So I really didn't know what to expect from him. He struggled, but he remained smart about it, which is good at the very least. And he readjusted. So I don't know. He did fine, I guess.
Fine? No, he did. He struggled on the time bomb and then absolutely killed the flying bar in a way I didn't even know was possible. There's no way he's getting through that fast. He left himself no time. I was like, see, I told you,
fresh,
JJ.
Man. Like, I don't know.
And then all of a sudden he just goes boom, 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 boom. Just done. Just like completely flew through the last of it.
I fully expected him to do that. I mean, it's JJ Woods. He's all about explosive power, you know. Talk about somebody that you want to see on the salmon ladder or something, you know. But I don't know. The time bombs were the ones that scared me. Once he got through those, I wasn't too worried about the guy.
All right. So that is it for this week. Thank you all so much for listening. Please make sure, we don't say this all the time, but we're going to start hearing it from us a little more. Please make sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And you can reach me as rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151. Please rate us on iTunes. Any 5-star reviews, you're going to get a special shout out from me on this podcast next week. All right, let's do it, guys.
All right, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Peace and love, everyone.